Yes, people, what's going on? We're back with another club calling show brought to you by Skybet. Remember, the Discord link is in the description below if you want to get involved and be a caller into the show. First up, we've got Kofi, who's an Arsenal fan.
Kofi, sir, you are live on the club. How are you?
Hi there again. Hi. I called a couple of weeks ago. Nice to meet you all again.
Yeah, great
Nice
to speak to you
to
again.
see
I
you.
remember. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yourselves, guys?
Yeah, all
Yeah,
very
good, man.
well, man. Very well. Not as well as you, annoyingly, because your team are flying, and I've now had to acknowledge that I'm a Paris Saint-Germain fan. Je suis Parisien.
Well, last time I came on, I was talking about my, not ill feeling, but my fraudulent
Wait, you're the one who
feelings
said you wanted
towards
Arteta sacked, didn't it?
Look, all I'm going to say is, this guy is still, in my eyes, a football criminal.
That's not what you said last time. That's not what I said last time.
No, a football criminal.
Yeah, he said stronger words last time. I
A
remember
football
what he
criminal
said.
was fairly strong, mate.
Yeah, he
It's
used
as bad as it
even
gets.
stronger words than that last time.
What's he done
Yeah,
wrong? Because
so
he's gone to the Champions of Europe. What's he done wrong?
Mate, amazing result.
So one thing I will put my hand up about the Real Madrid game. I got that completely wrong. But I think I did underplay how tactically poor Carlo Ancelotti did set up his Real Madrid side. They thought they can come and play us with just aura. And we had, like, every Arsenal fan was bringing their A game towards their Emirates. Obviously, Declan Rice, in my opinion, saved Arteta that night.
Kofi.
You know,
can't do
Nicola
this.
Jova
What's he ever done
with
to
the
you,
same
Arteta?
It's the best result that
Declan Rice-
Arsenal have had for 2 decades. It's literally the best result you've had for 2 decades.
In the Champions League ever. Really?
No,
But this is
no,
the
I'm going
issue.
back to when they last won a semi-final in
Get to the
Europe
finals
to get
better.
to get to the
Villarreal.
06.
No, but when they got to the final last
quarter-
time, they didn't have as big a result of
No.
this. You know, like a shocking result like this.
Kofi, do you know, look, sometimes in life, these things happen to us. And I'm speaking from a position of experience here. I suggested that Erling Haaland wasn't fit for the Premier League. Sometimes we just get it wrong. We hold our hands
you
up.
said
You got it wrong,
You
Kofi.
said you were still right.
No, there's a world
No.
where I could be. But
Ireland went on and scored like 35 goals in the league or something. along those
50?
lines.
35. You're getting 2
Kofi-
things wrong today.
Kofi went. Kofi.
What's your point, Kofi? You've been calling up now for 5 minutes. What are you talking? Just give me your point, please. What are you talking about?
My
You talked
point
about
is Arteta
aura?
is still a
Aura?
fraud. He's still a fraud, Arteta. I'm telling you now.
I'm with you,
this is
Kofi.
just paper over the cracks.
Yeah,
No,
correct.
'cause my logic is I want us to win the league. I want us. That's my aspiration. Maybe I've got too high of an aspiration for my club.
You're going to win the European
Really?
Cup.
Not the Champions League.
You're going to win the
So you don't
European
want to
Cup.
win the Champions League.
No, we're not going to win the Champions League. Luis Enrique is a tactical genius. You will see.
So is
You will see-
Ancelotti. Isn't Ancelotti?
He's not, he's not as tactically
Ancelotti is
adept
Mr.
as-
Eyebrow.
He's got 5 times as many European Cups.
He's a serial European Cup winner.
Won 5 league titles in different countries.
I hear what he's saying, though. If Arsenal go out next round, does this, just because they beat Real Madrid over 2 legs, does that suddenly mean that Arteta is...
I just don't understand the hostility to Mikel Arteta from an Arsenal fan. I really don't. What more can he
I
do?
don't
He's
understand.
had you second in the league. You've pushed Man City all the way. You were
They
the
should have
best
won the
team in
league
the
this
country last year. I know you didn't win the league, but at various points you were the best team in the country. You've just launched Real Madrid out of the European Cup. You're in the semi-final. I think you'll beat Paris Saint-Germain, home and away. Mate, you know your club better than me, but I hold my hands up. If Arsenal fans are telling me Arteta's not the man, I listen. But it doesn't
He's
make
in
any
the
have a
sense.
squad
minority.
in my-
Kofi's in the
We have a
minority.
squad, in my opinion, that could win the league last season and this season, and we haven't. Yes, we beat Real Madrid, but in the games that we should have won, which are a lot of games, we've drawn 12 games this season. We haven't drawn. We haven't won. And I feel this was the season, like, especially when Arne Slot came in on his first season, has shown Arteta, you know, who's in charge, who's the real OG here. And he's won the league.
Yeah, but Arne Slot's working with generational players. I'm getting
Whoa,
talked to
whoa.
by certain people saying that Salah's better than Ronaldo. He isn't. But we're talking about Salah as one of the greats in the history of the Premier League. Van Dijk, Alisson. You know, Arteta came in with a side that had Aubameyang and a load of rubbish in the back line. So it's a different setup, isn't it? I mean, Arne Slot's come into a great Liverpool side.
No, but this team isn't the team that he inherited.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he's had to do a lot of work.
They've
hasn't
spent
he?
a lot of
He's
money.
had to do a lot of work.
Kofi, if Mikel Arteta makes it to the final, not saying win, if he makes it to the final, do you call up the club and live on air apologise to Mikel Arteta? Yes or no?
No, I will apologize. Like I said
I
last time,
respect
I
it,
will wear a
Kofi.
Spurs shirt. I will wear a Spurs shirt if we win the UCL, and I will give a live apology happily on air if we win the UCL.
Why are you
'cause I
wearing a
don't like-
Spurs shirt? Why you want to?
As a forfeit.
It'd be the greatest day in your
Forfeit.
club's history.
As a forfeit, Buvey.
Oh, the forfeit. Right.
As a forfeit.
I thought you hated. I thought you hated Arteta that much. I thought, fucking hell.
So what, Kofi? Only victory in the European Cup will save Mikel Arteta in your eyes?
100%, because that's the only thing that we haven't achieved. When we got us to a final, we haven't won the UCL.
You haven't won the League Cup in 20 years either. What about the League Cup?
That's the big shout. We lost to Newcastle home and away in the League Cup this season with this side that is beating Real Madrid. We can't beat these mid-block teams like, Unai Emery and, Newcastle. Eddie Howe.
Kofi, mate, it's nearly summer. The sun's coming out. You've just beaten Real Madrid. They got more pedigree in probably one season in Europe than you have in 150 years of history. Just have a day off and enjoy yourself. Have a rich tea digestive and
Kofi,
enjoy your life.
Kofi, it's very
enjoy your life.
rare. It's very rare that this happens on the club. But I think Adam might be sympathetic to your view here. But you've managed to align Buvey and I.
I'm not sympathetic with his view.
Enjoy your
because
life.
I kind of understand where he's coming from. If they win the Champions League, fair enough. But if they don't, what's changed?
Get into the finals big.
What's changed for Kofi?
It's symbolic.
His opinion was that they wouldn't win the Premier League with him.
Knocking Real Madrid out of the European Cup is symbolic.
No, but if you get nothing out of it,
it's developmental.
if they go out in the next stage against PSG,
Man City got to the final and learned something and approached the Real Madrid game with a level of intensity because of what happened against Chelsea.
But if they go out against
you'd
PSG,
learn if you get to the final.
If they go out against PSG, what's changed?
They beat PSG.
I suppose when Arsenal got to the final in 06, you would have said that they'll learn from that and at some point win it, and that has never materialised.
That was an old
So maybe
squad, wasn't
Kofi's
it?
correct.
Bergkamp didn't even start that game. Do you know what I mean?
What do you reckon,
We
Kofi?
have top players in our squad. Players like Saliba, who've only got 2 years left on their contract. You think these types of players are going to stay at Arsenal and say, you know what, the fans want us to say, Arteta aura, let's stay another 3 or 4 years. They want to win trophies. A footballer's career is very, very short. You guys know footballers personally. I don't. But their career is short. They want to win trophies. They want to look back at their careers.
Yeah. Kofi, do you know what? You're a good man. You need to call back, though. Off the back of the first leg against Paris Saint-Germain, you need to be a brave man. You need to agree now. You call us.
To be fair, he said he'd call back.
But you call us off the back of the first leg. So Arsenal are at home against Paris Saint-Germain the first leg. I think Arsenal will win. If Kofi is the man that he says he is, he calls us back.
I feel in 2 legs' time, whenever that is, Kofi's going to be calling us back saying, Told you so.
I think he's going to have his tail between his legs because Arsenal are going to beat Paris Saint-Germain home and away. Kofi, an honour to speak to you, sir. Thank you very much.
You know what I hate about football these days?
Go on.
I feel sorry for Kofi a little bit because, like with me, I'm a bit longer in the tooth. I'm a bit old. I have opinions, but ultimately, if my team win, even if Harry Maguire, who once said isn't good enough for United, scores, I'm still going to enjoy that and I'm going to praise him and say he did well because ultimately I don't mind being wrong. I think nowadays too many football fans want to be right more than they want their team to succeed.
No.
So you end up in positions like this.
I think Kofi would love nothing more than being massively wrong.
But he wants to be right about Arteta more than he wants Arteta to succeed.
He does, yeah.
You never want to be right in those situations. I would love nothing more than Enzo Maresca to win every game between now and the end of the season, Chelsea to qualify for the Champions League, win the Conference League, and ultimately I have to say...
me and you are much the same in the way we view football.
I think Kofi...
There's a generation a lot younger that on Twitter, they want to get proven right on their tweets. They want to get proven right on their tweets.
Do you know how I could tell he was a different generation? He called it the UCL.
I didn't know what he meant at first. I'm not even joking. I just looked at you both. I was like...
I called it the UCL a few times as well. It just makes things simpler.
Yeah, you're a different generation.
What, than the European Cup?
Yeah.
Very strange.
We're
going to get a completely different perspective now. That's the thing about the club. Balance. Tommy Gunn, how are you, sir? Name a famous Tommy that's played in the Premier League. Go. Any 5, 4, 3,
Hardcastle.
2. No touch person.
No touch
Hello,
person.
gents. Thank you for having me back.
No touch person. Yes, Tommy, how are we doing, son?
I'm very well. How are you boys?
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
mate.
Tommy, what do you want to say today?
Good. I just wanted to talk about Arsenal's season, really. A lot of people are saying that we now have to win the Champions League for it to be a successful season, but I completely disagree. I don't think we have to win it for it to be a successful season. I think how far leaps and bounds that we've come to be able to challenge at the heights of the Champions League is progress and moving in the right direction. Whether that sets us up for something bigger for next season, I just don't think it's as black and white as we have to win the Champions League.
Tommy, just for context, I think it's important that you know. Moments ago, the last person that we spoke to was an Arsenal fan called Kofi, who's effectively said that if Mikel Arteta doesn't win the European Cup this season, it's total failure from him. And I think the hostility would suggest that it would mean Mikel Arteta deserves to be sacked. Would you agree with that?
I saw this statement in the chat by him, and I couldn't disagree more. I think we put ourselves in an amazing position, and yeah, that's where we want to be aiming for our season to end. Don't get me wrong, I have aspirations for that to happen, but if it doesn't happen, absolutely Arteta should not be losing his job. Look at where he's got us. Like I'm old enough to have seen Arsenal go from the Invincibles to the horrible,
a decade without a
horrible
trophy.
days. Yeah,
Coming
and-
eighth twice. What about eighth twice?
Under Arteta.
But would
Yeah.
Tommy, I know you. Okay, so what would success have looked like to you at the start of the season?
Success for me was for me it's just all about consistency. If you had spoken to me pre Arteta, you would have got the answer of being I just want to compete. I just want to have something to look forward to cheer about, to be in a final, to be in a semi-final, and just really look forward to watching an Arsenal game. And that for me is everything. And the fact that like when we played Real Madrid, I sat down with the missus and she got so in, but she doesn't know anything about football, but she got so invested in this, and it was amazing to be able to share that experience with her because that's what football does.
How did you feel about this season before the Real Madrid game? Did you go into that expecting to win? Did you go in?
No, absolutely not. I think, and I'm going to show how much of a fan of the show I am now, but I know Rory speaks a lot about Champions League pedigree and how normally the teams with that pedigree get an edge over teams that have not won it and have not competed in it. And there's no one more prestigious in the Champions League than Real Madrid. So going into that game, I almost didn't want to watch it because I just thought, it's gonna be a really long night. It's gonna be a hard fought battle, but we made them look so average, and I don't think people quite realise. People beat Real Madrid. Like they're not unbeatable, but the manner in which we took them apart to go to the Bernabeu, and even
I don't even think it was the first leg that was
bang
that impressive. Like the second leg was more impressive to me because
Absolutely.
I thought the first leg the game was quite even, and then you have the two set pieces.
Two super
Real
goals as
Madrid
well, yeah.
try and chase the game, and then you get the third. I think that game was kind of decided in almost like a 20-30 minute period where Arsenal obviously were excellent. The second game is what was most impressive.
But this is
to
why
me.
I think the point is a little bit it's strange because if you beat Real Madrid in that manner, you have to, in my opinion, you have to go on and try and win it because this isn't
No, but they're
Barcelona with
trying to
Messi.
win it, right?
Yeah, but there are some fans. I think fair play to Tommy. He's not trying to be having too many expectations on Arsenal, but this is an open Champions League. There's more experience here. Rice has got England to 2 finals. Saka as well. Saliba's one of the best centre backs in world football. They'll beat Inter Milan. I think they can beat Barcelona. They can beat PSG. They've got to be a bit more ambitious. This is Arsenal Football Club.
See, it's interesting because everything that Tommy said there, I thought that it was so spot on. He admitted that the pedigree matters. He admitted that he went into the game not necessarily expecting to win it. I feel like this is the most rational call.
Yeah, it's rational,
The
yeah.
most sensible call that.
But you want to dream, don't you? You want to dream.
I don't necessarily think Tommy's not dreaming.
I'm
Tommy, you
dreaming.
dreaming?
I'm dreaming. I'm absolutely dreaming, but there's context to take into it as well. The fact that we've had all these injuries, like losing Gabriel before the Real Madrid game, for me was like, oh my god, yeah. Any chance that we did have has just been dented. We've obviously seen what's happened to Man City this season with the loss of Rodri.
Do you think you beat Paris Saint-Germain?
I believe so. Yeah.
Say you don't.
absolutely-
Say you don't, Tommy. Say it ends up. You know how unpredictable European football can be, as you demonstrated in the previous round. Say it goes really wrong against Paris Saint-Germain, and I don't think that will happen. For the record, I think you're going to make the final. But let's just pretend. Let's pretend you lose home and away to Paris Saint-Germain. Battered, say, tactically outthought. It just goes wrong for you in the way it went wrong for Liverpool. If that happens against Paris Saint-Germain, would you concede that Arteta maybe isn't the man to get you to the finishing line, or do you still believe that everything you've seen so far from him, he is the person to back and believe in next season?
I still believe, and I would back him 100%. You got to realise this is his first official job as a manager. Like, we're only seeing the start of his career. What were the starts of the careers of all the great managers of the years? They I don't think they really exploded onto the scene as much as Arteta has.
The Micah Richards of managers.
Yeah, exactly that. He's gone from being Pep's second in command to now being Pep's nightmare of how do I beat this guy?
How is he a
Not his
nightmare? How is he
nightmare.
the nightmare?
I think he is.
Man City got the same amount of wins in the
Because you
Premier League as
don't
Arsenal
beat
this
us.
season.
But they've done.
Nightmare.
What's the record?
He's just called us a nightmare.
They were a
Klopp's
paper away
nightmare.
from. They were a paper away from beating you up there, and they battered you at home.
And after all that, they're still only a few points ahead of City.
Yeah, but the point
Not
is in the
nightmare.
head-to-head.
You just called it. You just said it's a nightmare.
He's not Pep's nightmare.
He's not Pep's nightmare, is he?
Jurgen Klopp
I'm
or-
inclined to agree with
or
Tommy.
Arne
here.
Slot.
Pep's not thought about Arteta in 3 years.
Fine. Pep Guardiola's nightmare is Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp only outfoxed him once.
No, but he pressured him way more than Arteta ever has.
Arteta's done a double over him.
Pep's nightmare is Mourinho into Milan.
He's done the double this year. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer done the double over.
He's done the double over him,
over
and he
Pep.
ran him.
I don't think Pep
And he
was
ran
ever
him
scared of Ole
massively.
Gunnar Solskjaer.
Arteta ran him massively close last season.
I don't think Pep was ever.
Nightmare's a
scared of
big word, isn't it?
Tommy, I'm
just
with you.
Ole. No, but
Buvey's a
the thing is,
contrarian.
ultimately, the thing is, Liverpool are winning the league this year. And in a year where City wouldn't have won it, we would have all thought it was Arsenal.
So Arne
And
Slot is
that has
Guardiola's
to be-
nightmare.
Yeah, that has to also be brought into the situation that we thought if it wasn't going to be City, it'd be Arsenal.
Tommy, do you think that as complimentary as you've been about Arteta and as loyal as you've been to your manager, is there any truth in what Adam's suggesting there, that the league has been so uninspiring that basically Arteta needs to hold his hands up on that front?
I don't know. I think maybe you could call it inspiring when you look at what's happening to the other big teams around. Do you know what
Tommy,
I mean?
you were
Like,
doing so well. Like, you can't position this as positive, surely. You've made a pig's ear in a
It's-
Premier League race, surely.
Yeah, I wouldn't say pig's ear. I mean,
You bottled
we're
it.
still up and around, aren't we? Like, Liverpool
Up
winning
and
the
around.
league isn't as far fetched as Arsenal coming second again. It's like
My point is,
You've
you
bottled
know,
the
just at the
title.
moment,
No
we're
offense.
all kind of, because Arsenal so incredibly put Real Madrid out, and look, they deserve massive amounts of credit for that, and so does Mikel Arteta. But we're kind of now assuming, because they put Real Madrid out, they're going to go on and win it, or they will get to the final. It's no guarantee.
No, it's hard here. It's difficult.
And they have to go and do that. Otherwise, we're still where we were before that Real Madrid game. With Arteta.
Yeah, it's
Or
turned out from
surely.
a really subpar season to a decent season right now.
Just winning
Right now, it's a
just
decent
getting
season.
to a semi-final doesn't.
No, but getting back into the Champions League, getting Saka back fit, beating Real Madrid, it's a decent season for Arsenal. If they win the Champions League, it's one of the greatest ever seasons ever.
Tommy, will you call us back after the first leg of Paris Saint-Germain, regardless of the score?
absolutely.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for your
and
time.
You will get a very joyous person on your show because I believe that we will absolutely destroy them.
Well, I tell you what, if Ousmane Dembele has the game of his life, you will get a very joyous version of me that night as
What a game
Paris.
that would
fine,
be. What a
but
game.
How was Mbappe?
That's
How
true.
was Vinicius Junior?
That's true.
I-
I'm worried,
I
Tommy.
put
I'm not going to
proof of
lie. I
I
am
think
worried.
PSG are more of a team at the moment than
They are.
But
They,
you are
they're
right.
very much
I think
a
Arsenal are
united
favourites.
front. Yeah.
Arsenal are favourites.
Tommy, thank you so much. Great to talk to you, mate.
Thank you.
Pleasure
guys.
as
Have a good
always,
one.
Tommy.
mate.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Cheers.
Good luck.
See you later.
We got another Arsenal fan. Next
I mean,
time.
Arsenal fans are buoyant, and this is the thing. They're incredibly
We've got
voluminous.
half of AFTV on the club.
Mate, this
Where's
is
Don
a-
Robbie?
this
Is it
is a
number
sign
10?
of the
He's at
future,
number
you
10.
know.
He's with Keir Starmer.
This is a sign of the future, by the way. If Arsenal win
Yeah.
the European,
I know.
we're not going to be able
I
to
know.
move from.
I know. This is a microcosm of what is
And
waiting
right now,
for us.
they've not won nothing, so they're all being nice.
Jack, Arsenal fan, again. How are you?
Sorry, we're just running them back to back. How's it going?
You're not too
Doing well.
bad, Jack. Where are you calling from, mate?
The beautiful US of A.
Whereabouts?
So,
We knew that. Which part?
yeah, gave it away, didn't I? Ohio. So the mean state of the country.
Where Dave Chappelle's from, isn't it? Dave
You
Chappelle
know,
from-
Ball lives about 30 minutes away. Saw him in a Starbucks once. Cool dude.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. The
Quality.
goal.
You're an Arsenal fan, Jack.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And are you feeling very confident? Presumably, you want to talk about the Champions League run, right?
I was actually going to talk about Mbappe and Real Madrid, but
Yeah, go
I can
for
always
it.
Yeah,
pivot
no,
if you
that's
want.
an interesting
No, let's
take.
do that.
No, let's do that, of course.
Yeah, my take was I think Real Madrid signing Mbappe was a mistake for Madrid
Yeah.
from a squad building perspective, especially.
Do you think you're going too early on this?
Yeah, it's way too early, man.
No, I agree with Jack.
Oh, I
I agree with Jack.
Right, nice one.
Mate, they've got the
You two chatting.
best winger. They've got the best left forward in world football, and then they go and sign
that's the
the
thing.
second.
They've got 3 left wingers though.
Who's the
They
third?
were like, we've got 2 left. Rodrigo wants to play left wing.
Yeah.
That's his natural position, but he's great and he can play anywhere. So they had 2 great left wingers, and they're like, hey, it would be great, a 3rd left winger.
Mbappe wasn't
And
good against Arsenal, but he didn't cost them the game. He scored nearly he scored 35 goals this season, loads of assists, and also he's a player for the next 10 years, and he's this generation's greatest player, arguably.
Has he disrupted the balance of the team?
But it's worth it for one season. If you like, Vinicius might move on to Saudi
No,
Arabia. There's been
one
links
season?
there. He's a fantastic addition
But-
to Real
but
Madrid.
why-
As a squad building exercise, you have to sign the best players in the world, don't you?
But why would you get rid of Vinny, who's proven it? He has 2 UCLs, team of the tournament player. He's proven it. Mbappe, I know he's great in the World Cup. He made a final, but he's never proved it in the UCL.
He
leads
has proved
Madrid
it in the
more than
UCL. He
Madrid.
destroyed Man City when he was at Monaco. I've never seen anything like it when he was 17. I've seen him
How-
do things I've never seen
But,
before from
that-
football.
that
by
was
your
seven-
own
They had
words.
Hostel up front last season, played for Stoke City.
But Buvey, by your own words, the Mbappe of today isn't as good as the Mbappe that was at Monaco.
He's plateaued.
Yeah.
I've said that. Yeah. At Monaco, he was world class, I'd say. He was
So
world class.
you're
at Monaco.
fine just selling Vinny to make room for Mbappe?
I didn't say that. I think they can play together. The proof is in the pudding with that. He scored 33 goals. I think Real Madrid
But,
lost because
see,
they couldn't
I-
control the midfield. I don't think Camavinga had a good game against Arsenal in the first leg.
Jack's point here is
Had
accurate
a few
because they've
injuries
gone
as
from
well.
winning. Jack's point is effectively they've gone from winning the double without him to winning neither with him.
This season, they've dipped off for sure. I don't know if that's Mbappe's fault. If he scores 33 goals, I think they've got issues in midfield.
Yeah, but I argue a lot
Tchouameni's
of
the
those
guy.
goals come with Vinny out. When Vinny and Mbappe were out, that's when the other was shining. So
Where
when
was
they're
Bellingham?
playing together, that's when they're.
Mm.
Where was Bellingham? He was in the midfield.
We had a terrible game against Arsenal. So is that Mbappe's fault?
But it has kind of, I kind of see the perspective Jack's coming with that. Those changes that they've made, because Bellingham was pushing on in a higher position, wasn't he? You had Vinny out on the left, him almost becoming a false 9 at times. Like their best players are now being pushed out of positions that they excelled in last season, which isn't going to help them. But I also agree with Buvey in a sense that signing Mbappe, we can, even if you think it may be a mistake, we can't call it a mistake. yet.
Jack, do you believe that
I
Kylian
understand.
Mbappe is the best player in the world?
I don't.
Yeah, if I was drafting players to start the season tomorrow, I would take Kylian Mbappe first.
He's
Yes.
top 10, isn't he? At least.
No,
we
of
can
course,
debate
top 10.
top
but-
5.
But I think people.
So you have to sign that if you
do-
can.
Do you not think? I mean, I remember having this argument.
But
with
where would
you.
you put Vinny? That's what I have a question about. Where would you guys throw
I
Vinny?
don't know. Ancelotti's not worked out the midfield situation. Valverde didn't have a good game against Arsenal. Declan Rice had a field day. That's a midfield issue. And I think they've got issues in the back line as well.
I think it's a pressing from the top issue. If you're going to have 2 guys that aren't going to press,
Yeah.
you're pretty much playing down 2 men, and any solid manager is going to eat that
Yeah,
up.
he
They
did have a
have
good
the
game.
players to combat it.
Mbappe was embarrassing in the second leg as well, diving and all sorts. But he scored 33 goals this season. That's more than most players in the top 5 leagues. So
Oh, absolutely. Believe me. I mean, I think I would compare this specifically to Barcelona when they signed Griezmann. Like Griezmann, I think we agree was a world class player, and
He has been for a
Really-
long time, I think. He's
Yeah,
one of those that goes
competed
under the
for France.
radar a bit.
So
Great
let's keep
French
Hostel up front for Real Madrid then. Hosselu. Play for Stoke City.
That's not the only option, though, is it? That's
hey,
Jack's
he
not saying that.
performed.
Hosselu.
That I just think it's a squad building issue, not a talent issue. I think that's where the disconnect is. And I think if they could, if you gave Perez true serum right now, and you're like, you could trade Haaland for Mbappe, I think that team would work much better with Haaland than it would
I agree with that
Mbappe.
perspective.
Do you think
I
that?
agree with that.
Do you think Real Madrid would be better this season with
Because you're
Haaland?
not trying to force.
Absolutely.
I don't
You're
think
not
so.
trying to force round pegs into square holes.
What, Haaland with Vinicius, you think's a better kind of combination?
Because they know where they're playing.
I don't know,
Vinicius knows he's on the left. Haaland knows he's through the middle. Your team has some more shape to it.
I love Haaland.
Bellingham links up really well with Haaland, so you've got that kind of thing.
That's a good shout, yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Jack here. Like, all this talk about Mbappe being the best in the world.
I think
I think on some level you could argue that. But I remember you and I were having this movie and we got quite cruelly clipped up. But what are we basing it on? Like, he hasn't played until very recently in the best league in the world.
No.
So can
His
you
record
be
in
the
the
best
Champions
player?
League is good. It is good. He's got a very good goal
Yeah,
scoring
but
record in the
He's
until
a
you
Champions
get
World
to the
Cup
latter
runs.
stage.
Yeah, he's not the best in the world, but he's been top 5 probably for the last 3 or 4 years. And a World Cup.
Yeah. What do you think, Jack? Do you think that if they'd spent the money elsewhere, if they'd spent the money on Kane, if they'd spent the money on Haaland, they would be a better overall proposition today?
And that's the thing. They got him for free. So I don't even think that Real Madrid, it's like a terrible choice by them, because I mean that was the worst kept secret for the last 2 years that Mbappe wanted to go on a free. So I mean, but if you're comparing, could they got Kane for free or Haaland for free? Yeah, I think that's what they should have gone after. Would they sold as many shirts, many kits? Maybe not. But I also think this could be just like a disaster year for Mbappe. Like, legacies don't take a hit after 1 year, but that PSG team looks pretty good. And if they go on and win,
I agree. It's a bad look, isn't it? It's like when Michael Owen left Liverpool to win the Champions League, and Liverpool won it without him. Kylian Mbappe leaving,
PSG a million miles away from winning the Champions League.
If
They
Kylian
got battered by Villa. They got battered by Villa.
But Jack's point is fair, right?
John McGinn was running rings around them.
But Buvey, is Jack's point fair? If PSG lose Mbappe and win the European Cup, it doesn't paint Mbappe in the greatest light.
That's a Michael
Also,
Owen
PSG get
vibe,
better and Real Madrid get worse.
They're definitely better. They're definitely better. Yeah.
Jack, fantastic,
Great call,
insightful
Jack.
call. You know your stuff, mate.
Great talking to you guys.
You too. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Definitely. See you guys. Have a good day.
We're going to our next caller now. Nate Dogg.
Yo, Nate.
Hello.
How we doing?
How are
Nate?
you?
Good?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well.
fantastic.
Very well, Nate. How's everything going? Give me the news, the gossip, the scandal.
Well, I mean, it might seem a tad reactionary because of the recent Champions League game, but I've been having some opinions about Carlo Ancelotti.
What, serial European Cup winner, Carlo Ancelotti?
Yes, I think he's potentially the most overrated manager in the history of the sport.
I think you could quite easily argue he's the best manager in the history of the sport.
Can I ask why you think he's the best manager in the history of the
Because
sport?
he's achieved something that no one else has. He's won the title in the Premier 5 leagues in Europe.
Okay,
Won the Champions League for three
different teams,
clubs?
Champions League, 5 different titles in 5 different
Across
countries.
all the different eras.
What's the other one? AC
About-
Milan, Real Madrid, and who?
European Cups.
Juventus. Was it
Did he win
Juventus?
more Juventus? Did he?
Was it Juventus?
I think he's won. Yeah, at least 2. But yeah,
No,
he's
three.
won 5 European
three
Cups.
European
What's the
Cups.
third club?
Serial European Cup winner.
5 European Cups.
Or maybe he won 2 with one club.
As a player.
Yeah, he won 1 as a player.
One
sorry.
a player.
AC Milan. He won.
Incredible. He's won 5 as a manager, hasn't he?
He won 2 with AC Milan as a manager. He won 3 with Real Madrid as a manager.
6 Champions League.
You got your work cut out here, Nate. We're talking about 6 Champions Leagues
He's
here.
won the German league, the Spanish league, the French league, the Premier League, the Italian league.
Yeah, five different league
If you
titles.
go below that as well, a double in England's hard.
Yeah,
Chelsea never won a double.
we've won
Not
one
many
double
teams
in our
have done
history. We've won it once in our history. It was Carlo Ancelotti.
That was a mean
Scored
side as
100
well.
goals.
That was a nasty side.
100 goals.
United
Nate,
done it 94,
Nate, I'm all
96.
ears, right? Because I think it's interesting. But you and Arf have your work cut out, my man.
I know. Well, I'd like to point out, by the way, that I don't think he's some bum manager. I'm just saying I don't think he's in the all-time conversations. Personally,
Okay.
best of all time, and I'll explain why. So, about your league title argument. So, first of all, how you say he's won it in every league. Well, French league he won it with PSG. German league he won it with Bayern Munich. Spanish league he won it with Real Madrid. So far these 3 aren't really outrageous, are they? They're kind of just a given.
Mm.
Chelsea, I will admit, that was an achievement. Fair enough. Winning it, that was a great Chelsea side. That was a great achievement. And what league am I missing?
AC Milan.
AC Milan.
AC Milan.
One of
once
the great
again.
AC Milan sides of all time.
Yeah. Yes, once again, that AC Milan side.
Competing
Kind of
against
a given
Inter
he's not
Milan with
really good at.
Mancini,
But
Juventus.
if we start writing off Serie A titles and Bundesliga titles and this, that.
No, but he's writing them.
No,
He's
no,
writing them
I'm
off because of the club. He's not writing off the title.
I'm
He's
not-
just saying
Well,
if
no,
you
but
do
if
it
you
with
do that and you start to go, well,
Yeah,
Bayern
rubbish.
Munich's not a great club to win things for. Real Madrid and Barca, then what's Pep's legacy? What's Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy? What's all these great managers' legacies?
The only one is
I
the
just
French
mean at
league.
the
The only
time,
one you can write off is the French league.
You can't write off winning the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich.
No.
I think you
No, you
can.
can't.
If you
No.
can do it to the French league, you can do it to the German league.
Also,
because
it was
that's a
only
real-
PSG's
but-
third
nah,
ever
that's a-
league title when he won it.
That's a great shout.
I think
They weren't a regular.
That's fantastic. You didn't fucking know that. You didn't know that. Hey, mate.
Hey, move.
The French league's a fucking joke league. Don't chat to me like it's the German league. Yeah, don't chat to me like it's the German league.
He got done. Nate, you
Bayern
done
can
him
win
there.
the Champions League.
Nate Buvey started crying in his seat. I just looked at him. He's
on.
crying.
You didn't know that.
Neither
did
did you.
I did.
But I wasn't
I
arguing
did.
against the French league. You were. You need to know
No, you
what
were
you're
saying the
arguing
German
against.
league was the same as the French league. Well, it's
No,
absolutely not. It's nowhere near the French league.
You said that if you win it with Paris Saint-Germain, you dismiss it.
Yeah,
and
I do.
I said you don't.
Yeah.
But if you do dismiss it from the French league, then
Which I
you
do.
also dismiss it from the German league.
No, I don't. I can't do that because the German league is a league where a side can come out of that league and win the Champions League. The French league is a joke league. It's not a real
also,
league.
Bayern
It
Munich are
isn't.
current
That's
German
ridiculous.
It's not
champions.
a real league.
It's not just a given they're going to win
Bayern
the
can
league
win
all
the
time.
Champions League every season. The French league hasn't had a European Cup winner for nearly 35 years.
But
It's
that's
not
a
a real
different-
league.
that's a different
It's below the
conversation.
Portuguese league.
It doesn't matter if you can win there's only one team that can win the European Cup, really.
But what I'm saying is
Are
the
we-
strength of the league means that Bayern can win. Back in the day, AC Milan can win the Champions League. An English side can win the Champions
He's won
League.
the league in 5 different countries. He's won 5 Champions League trophies, spreading across 2 or 3 different footballing. Let's not be crazy here. Okay,
Yeah, can I-
here's a
Let-
great
let-
question,
Nate-
Nate.
Nate
Who
needs
do
to
you
talk
rate
here.
above him?
Nate, you need to tell us why. So you've mentioned, and I think there's some truth in what you've said about the clubs that he's done it with. I understand the point you're making. He's done it with
That's
the
not my only
favourites.
argument.
Okay, let's hear the rest. No, he's done it with the favourites. What else?
Okay, so about the league. So I actually think the league is definitely an argument you probably can't use of him because he's had 28 league titles available to him in his managerial career. 24 if you take out Parma and Everton. If
Yeah,
you want to be fair to him. Do you know how many he's won out of that 24?
go on.
5 in it.
6.
6. Yeah. 6 out of 24.
Mhm.
Is that a good record for an all-timer manager?
I mean, that's a good record. Is Arsene Wenger an all-time manager?
No, but I never said that either.
No.
Is Jose Mourinho an all-time? If we look
we're
at
talking
Jose
the big boys.
Mourinho's record right now, we might see very similar stats. And Jose Mourinho is
Yeah.
one of the greatest.
That's why Fergie was a freak because it's just like 20 years and there are basically no
blips.
breaks really. 1-1,
Yeah.
Mourinho 2.
Guardiola's no breaks, really.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
why
league titles.
Guardiola's special. But Ancelotti's just below Guardiola and Ferguson for me. But he's
Yeah,
in the top 5.
how highly do
top
you
10.
rate him, Nick? Because at the beginning of this, you said you're not saying he's a bum. Like, where do
No,
you
not a
rate
bum manager.
Ancelotti?
I rate him below Ferguson, Pep, Mourinho, those guys. The Mount Rushmore of managers.
What about
I
Jurgen
rate him
Klopp? Is he
below-
better than Jurgen Klopp?
You see, it's difficult because could Ancelotti do what Jurgen Klopp did at Mainz and Dortmund?
What,
Well,
has he
take
done
Mainz
nearly
down.
relegated both of them?
Huh?
He nearly relegated Mainz.
I'm glad you got that one.
They were glad to get him out the door. They were glad to get him out the door. Mainz, all the Mainz fans were protesting.
I mean, Arnie Slutch just would
In
have
the
what
town,
Klopp
there's a
did.
little village called Mainz. They were protesting.
Arnie Slutch just
The
matched Klopp's
situation
record.
Mainz were in when he came into the team
Terrible
was
situation.
dire.
Yeah, it was dire.
Dire.
Yeah, and they nearly relegated him, so it made it worse.
And what,
An eye
what-
for an
what did
eye
he do
makes
for
the world go
Dortmund?
blind, Nate.
Look, I'm not here to argue for Klopp, but what did he do for Dortmund as well?
Nearly relegated him.
Did he nearly relegate them? He
Yeah.
won them. He won their
he
first
won them
title
some
in
league
a
titles.
very.
Nate, go on
a very, very
ChatGPT.
long
You don't even
time.
need to use Google anymore. Just talk to ChatGPT for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and it will illuminate you. It will illuminate you.
I think we've got to be just not stupid here. We can't be stupid.
He's top 10, I think easily top 10 of
Ancelotti
all
is
time.
top 10 in our lifetime.
Maybe not top 5 for some, I get that. But top 10
Okay, look,
for everyone,
realistically,
basically, in
he's
football.
not better than Ferguson. He's not better than Guardiola. He's not better than Mourinho. Is he better than Wenger, Nate?
I think he's got a shout with Mourinho, you know.
Nate,
I think-
is he better than?
I think he's got
Prime Mourinho.
Definitely not better than Mourinho.
No,
Prime
No,
Mourinho schools
No,
Ancelotti.
of course. Whether you prefer Mourinho or not, I'm here for that. But he's up there with Mourinho.
He's not.
He's not above Mourinho.
He's not.
Mate,
No.
He's not.
what?
Prime Mourinho schools Ancelotti,
Yeah.
sends him back to Everton.
That's fine. That might happen. But his
The only
record
thing
and
he's
his
got over
CV
Mourinho
right
is
there.
longevity. The only thing he's got over
I-
Mourinho.
Because
Is
if you
can
want
I
to use
talk about-
all the
can I-
seasons, then Mourinho's had some stinky ones.
Yeah, but
Carry on, Nate.
Can I talk about Ancelotti actually as a manager as well? Because that was I had another thing to say.
Go on.
So about his, you mentioned his multiple Champions League wins.
Mm.
The last 2 with Real Madrid. I honestly, I've had the displeasure of watching Real Madrid, a lot of Real Madrid matches the last few years, and I have to say, especially because bear in mind he played your team, Rory, and he played your team, Buvey.
yeah, smash
In that-
Chelsea.
In that, no, they robbed Chelsea.
Exactly. Mate, Timo Werner was
Chelsea.
scoring.
When Benzema scored a header from
Timo Werner
25
was
yards
scoring.
out.
Mate, Timo Werner was educating them.
What about the Benzema header?
They were the worst team in every single knockout game, and even in the final. In the final, we battered them, absolutely battered them in that final. I can't honestly. I think we had like triple their shots.
It was just Courtois, wasn't it? Courtois had the game of his life.
Yeah, Courtois. This is what I'm going to say about Ancelotti. He relies on individual brilliance.
So does every great manager.
But that's not fair.
No,
man,
but
because
managers
have to
Nate
give
is
players
right about that final and that Real Madrid
So
Champions League.
Ferguson had 12 plumbers running, 11 plumbers running around, did he?
Managers have to
Ferguson
give
had one of the greatest players of all time on the left wing,
in
the
their
right wing.
players to deliver on the stage, and even if that means giving them a little bit of rope to maybe run around thinking about
Ferguson had 11
Nate's
running around.
Nate's point is accurate. He's saying that Thibaut Courtois had the absolute game of his life in that
He's
final.
entitled to. Ferguson was entitled. Schmeichel having a good game. A goalkeeper is a valid part of a football side that you put out as the manager.
He put in a performance
John
that
Terry
you
Courtois
couldn't
is
have.
not a plumber, is he?
No, but he put in a performance that nobody would have expected. He put in a performance beyond his usual
But you're
capability.
entitled to fall back on your goalkeeper every now and then.
But
Yeah,
he
well,
fell
that's
back on
especially
him.
if you
He
come
fell
back
back
against
on
Chelsea,
him.
come back
He
against Man
literally
City.
had the game of his
He
life in
beat
that
Guardiola
final.
in the quarterfinal semis.
He literally had the game of his
Also, if you
life.
look at
Nate's
every
point is
manager's
effectively
great
that I think it's a fair point.
If
Nate.
you look at every manager's great achievements, a goalkeeper's dug them out somewhere.
That's
Well,
the-
what we
Edison
do-
did it against
no,
Inter Milan.
no,
Edison
yeah,
for
Peter
Guardiola.
Schmeichel in the FA Cup semi-final.
playing to the level that you expect. Literally, Thibaut Courtois, one of the best goalkeepers to have ever lived, had the game of his life in that Champions League final.
Ancelotti is one of the greatest managers to ever lived, and we need to stop
He's
doing
top
this
10.
right now.
Can I say what he's good at? Can I say what I think he's good at?
Winning things.
But nothing by the sound of it.
Winning the best trophies in world football.
No,
He's
people person.
he is a brilliant. He's a brilliant man manager. Like people want to play for him. He gets the best out of superstars very, very well. But I think, and by the way, you twisted my words before. I'm not saying other managers haven't relied on individual brilliance. I think he relies on it too much, way too much. The last two Real Madrid campaigns, 2024, Vinicius Junior, 2022, Karim Benzema. They were the worst team in every knockout
But
game.
they still won it. They still won it.
smashed.
They still won it.
Yeah,
I know,
but mate.
but-
You're being flippant. His point is accurate.
Why?
You Real Madrid.
If you just go, but they still won it.
What do you mean, but it's Real Madrid? They hadn't won the Champions League in, 20 years? He wins their first Champions League title in 20 years.
Are we
Am
going to
I wrong on that? Am I wrong in that? They beat
And look at the
Atletico
Milan
Madrid.
team
Well,
that
it
won
wasn't
it.
20
If it
years,
wasn't
it
for
was
him,
12.
Yeah, 12 years. That's a long time that's a long time for Real Madrid.
But it's half of practically half of what you
decimal.
said it
No,
was.
it's not.
crazy, man.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
you
can't
said
even do
20.
maths.
You said
need to go back to
20.
school, Royce.
You said 20.
Go
it
back
was
to
12.
school. Go back to early
You went,
learning
it was
centre.
20
Do your
years,
maths thing.
and the answer was
12
actually 12.
Yeah. So 8 years off.
So you were nearly 50%.
Yeah, but it was a
wrong.
long time since Real Madrid. They got battered with the Galactico era in the Champions League. He brings the success back.
Yeah.
He started
Yeah,
what
fine,
Zidane
fine,
did.
fine.
What
But you've
Zidane
given him
did was down
numbers.
to
You've given him
Ancelotti.
numbers that were nearly 100% wrong. That 80%
No, that's not
wrong.
true. That's just not
Well,
true.
80% wrong.
That's not 80%.
You were
wrong.
literally
No, it's
80%
not.
wrong.
12 to 20 isn't 80%.
80%.
No, it's not.
You said it was 20 years. The answer was it was 12 years.
Multiple decades. Yeah, so what?
It's not multiple decades.
What are you, a maths teacher?
Multiple decades. A decade is 10 years. It's not multiple decades. If
12
it's-
years.
Yeah.
That's a long time for Real Madrid.
So it's not multiple
That is a long
decades.
That's not a sticking point, is it?
No,
12
it
to 20
is when
years.
you go 20. Nate, you go 20.
I didn't say 100 years, did I?
No, you said 20 and it was 12.
Still a long
So
time.
it's a small margin of error in a mathematical
I think
situation. What
it's
difference does
nearly
it make?
double.
What difference does it make?
12 or 13.
Makes no difference to the
12 or
argument.
13.
Makes no footballing difference to the argument.
if it makes no difference, like these are the points. You go if somebody goes 20 years without a trophy, it's hugely different to going 12 years
Is
without
it?
a trophy.
8
Yeah.
years difference. Really?
For Real Madrid, I'd
think
say
it's a
12
very-
years is 20 years.
Yeah, it feels like a long time.
Like, for
Felt
example,
like a very long time.
United going 12 years without a league title is as bad as Arsenal going 20. Because it's just different
The
standards.
sticking
for the
point's
club.
not 8 years difference between what I've said. It's a long time
Yeah.
for Real Madrid. They were
Also,
poor in Europe for 12 years.
Let's not be stupid here. Ancelotti is not the most overrated manager of all time.
Come on.
I don't even think it's a wild thing to say that he's
It might be
overrated.
Wenger.
I don't even agree. I don't even agree.
Wenger's
but,
overrated.
But you've reacted as
Wenger.
if Nate has said something wild, and he hasn't. He's backed it up with logic as well, and it's like half been laughed at. It's
but then
accurate what he said.
But it's because
said-
we're going, well, you can't count this one because it was for Real Madrid. You can't count this
but
one because it was
it's
AC
not-
Milan.
he's not
Well, we
saying-
can't
No, I
count
said-
this
But
because
it's not
No, I
saying
said-
you can't
no, I
count.
said-
He's literally not said that.
he
Yeah, sorry,
he
Nate,
said
but
he
I'm not
won the
laughing at you.
league with
He's
Bayern
not,
Munich.
he didn't
and
say you
PSG,
can't
so
count
therefore
it.
they
He
don't-
said that he's done it with the favourites, which is a valid argument.
So what?
If it's-
Pep
but if
Guardiola,
it's-
all of
Yeah,
Pep
but
Guardiola's
when we
league
talk
titles are
about
with the
Guardiola,
favourites.
we can bring that up.
You're
But
entitled to
it's
win
not
things
so
with the favourite
what.
club, aren't you?
It's so what. That's the point
all
he's
of Pep
made.
Guardiola's trophies have come with the favourites.
Mate, I don't know. I feel Nate. I feel like you've made a good point, and they're both laughing.
No, I'm not laughing.
I
I
think
think
he-
he's a disgrace. Nate,
I
I
know,
think
I know,
you're a
that's
disgrace.
good.
I Why don't you take your 20th league title and run
No,
along?
12 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't 20. It was 12 years.
Also, it was 12. It wasn't 20. He didn't say that it doesn't count if you do it at Bayern Munich. He just said that he's doing it with the favourites. We twisted everything the geezer said. Who phoned up?
Oh, did
This
I?
is how you win,
Yeah.
win arguments.
I'm not trying to win an argument. It's not
No,
my
I am.
argument. I don't
We
agree.
are.
I don't agree with Ancelotti's particularly overrated. I just think that
Yeah, I
he's
don't
made
agree.
about 6 or 7 valid arguments, and you've both twisted it to a way where it hasn't answered his point.
I
You
just
haven't
think-
countered it with logic. You've gone 20 instead
Well,
of
I
12.
did.
He's done this and that.
Well, I counted it with logic. He said he won the league with PSG.
No.
It was their third league title in their history
you
of the
didn't
club.
say you didn't count
That's
it
a
with
huge
logic.
achievement.
Nate's point was he's done it with the favourites at every point, and you went. He said it doesn't count if you do it with Bayern Munich.
But then
You
what
didn't
about
say that.
why did you ignore my point when I said, well, Pep Guardiola's won most of the
No,
Pep
but
Guardiola's
because we're not-
trophies have been with the favourites.
Because we're not talking about if we are talking about
No,
where
so
does
then does that mean Pep
if-
Guardiola isn't a great manager?
Okay, so now we're not talking about Ancelotti, we're talking about Guardiola. I don't rate Guardiola as highly as I rate Ferguson because of what Ferguson did at Pataudry. So yes, I do agree,
All right, you're
but
right.
it's a
You're right
different
there.
point.
You're right on that one.
But it's just he's made 6 or 7
He's made
points, and
valid
it's just
points.
we just kind of laughed at them.
no, we weren't laughing
No,
at
I
them. We
wasn't
made some
laughing
good
at them.
We
points
didn't
back.
counter them at all. We just
We did,
dismissed
we
them.
did.
We
I did.
didn't.
I did.
I made a valid point. It taken Real Madrid a long time to get back to winning Champions Leagues, and Ancelotti brought that success back. After 12, you correctly said it wasn't 20, but it was 12, which is quite a close number. Let's be real. It's quite a close number. In footballing terms, 12 to 20 is a close number. Ancelotti was the guy to bring it back against Simeone. Against Simeone in the final.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing victory to win the first Intercity Champions League finals. Obviously amazing, but and the point is, I've never really felt that Ancelotti is particularly overrated. I don't agree with it. I just think the points that were raised were interesting points, valid points, and we were too quick to dismiss them all, but with humour almost.
I don't think we did dismiss them with just
No,
humour.
fair.
I brought out some stats and facts and ideas of my own. We're looking at some of the greatest teams that we've ever seen. That AC Milan team, whilst it had great individuals and great players within it, they're not who they are without the leadership of Ancelotti. We've heard about how the PSG dressing room reacted to having Ancelotti in there and how he made them feel as a team, and that went a long way to making them win the league. He was massive, and he arguably laid the foundations to what you see this PSG team as now going,
manager.
oh, well, PSG, they're expected to win the league. Yeah, it's because of people like Ancelotti who got them to this
It's
position.
also because of people in Qatar.
Well, yeah, of course. But then if we're going to do
Yeah.
that, nothing that Pep did at City counts, which I'm happy to accept.
Now, thank you for your call,
I
Nate.
did mention his man management. I did.
Yeah,
I
Thank
did
you,
mention
Nate.
his man management.
of course.
I was mainly speaking on a tactical level. I don't see what Real Madrid's style of play has been for the last 3-4 years, personally.
It's definitely faded away
Especially
recently.
this
That's a
season.
valid
Yeah.
point. It's faded away for sure.
Yeah,
Can
this-
he come
this
back? That's a
season-
debate.
this
I don't
But then
know.
we all...
Can I say a lot of Real Madrid fans?
Go on.
A lot of Real Madrid fans. I mean, I know they're like the most reactionary fan base in the world, but recently a lot of them are calling out his tactical nous, and I don't think they're outrageous for saying
But then
it.
we
because I
all...
just, you look. What was he?
We all
was he
criticise when
trying to do
managers
against
clip the
Arsenal?
wings of incredibly talented players. And then when you have a manager that goes against that, now because they've lost, we're criticising that when we were 12 months ago praising it.
Yeah, no, he got it
That's a good
massively
shout, man.
wrong against Arsenal, no doubt. But the impact that has on his legacy is minimal, in my opinion. Nate, great call. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Nate.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
Cheers, mate. Interesting. You got us
Great call.
going. Right, first
Let's
voice
go.
note. Pay attention, Buvey, please.
Come on. Come on, Boris.
No,
Hi
seriously,
guys,
mate.
I'm Dan and I'm a Chelsea fan.
Go on, son.
I wanted to ask, if you exclude Mohamed Salah, who has been the best player of the season? Love the show. Keep it up.
Van Dijk.
Do you think?
Easy.
Do you not think?
Maybe,
someone
maybe,
left
maybe it
field?
should be a not a Liverpool
Milenkovic?
player then. Yeah. Murillo, Gibbs White, Wood.
Tielemans?
Mbeumo's been good on it, it's a boring shout.
Tielemans has been
Isaac?
class, man. Tielemans.
Isaac, yeah.
Ramsey,
Aaron.
Villa.
Jacob Ramsey, Watkins scored a few goals.
Anyone who's been City's best player this season?
Marmouche.
Who's been Man United's best player this season?
Bruno.
Mm.
Bruno's just amazing. Man.
Bruno.
That's why you know Palmer.
Mm.
Cunha.
Yeah.
Might not be no
Caicedo
excuses
for us,
him,
it would be.
Cunha.
Right, let's hear the next voice note. Listen up this time,
My
baby.
name's Lewis, and I've got a question for the three of you. Who will spend the most money in the summer out of your clubs?
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Chelsea
Can
spend loads of money.
you?
mate, we can find ways.
It's not allowed what you do, man. You're dodging
Are we
big
talking
legal
next
loopholes.
Are you serious?
No, it's not
Are you
allowed-
serious?
No, but you're not allowed to do what you're doing, man.
serious?
No, you don't balance the books. At least City balance the books.
Mate,
City are one
we
of the
do
most
balance the
profitable
books.
enterprises
We
all over
sell
the world.
ourselves assets. We are very good
You
at
sold
balancing
yourself,
the books.
what did you sell yourself?
A women's
Not
team.
once,
dodgy
twice,
sofa
I've
down
done
women's
it
team
15 times
down the
to
back of the
criminal
Yellow
over there.
Pages.
Mate, we sold ourselves a women's team. We sold ourselves a hotel.
Come on, man.
Come
You've not
on.
won anything in years.
Mate, 3 years.
You've not won
3 years
you've
ago.
not won a
we were the
league
best team.
title in 8 years.
Mate, surely it's still raw. You crying.
City are the most profitable sporting enterprise
crying.
in the world.
You know when you were crying when we were sat next to
Allegedly.
each other. Do you remember when we were crying when we were
Mate,
sat
the
next to each
accounts
other?
go to HMRC. Who are you to question them?
Right, next one.
I'm James, and I'm a Liverpool fan. By the way, the slander against Liverpool has been shocking this season on the show. Anyway, my question is, would the likes of Bournemouth, Fulham and Brentford qualifying for Europe this season make them one of the favourites to go down next season?
Oh, that's
Keen to hear what
interesting.
you guys think.
That is interesting. So effectively what he's saying is the added pressure of a team like Brighton or Brentford having to play in Europe, would it be their demise in the Premier League?
Remember when it messed up Burnley?
Stoke City, I think.
Portsmouth,
Fulham.
Portsmouth. But we saw Brighton launch a campaign in Europe recently.
I think
They'll be
Brighton's,
fine. They'll be
Brighton's
fine.
recruitment will improve with European
Yeah,
football,
yeah.
so I think they'd be
100%.
all right.
They got
But
Burnley
Bournemouth-
coming up. Burnley, Coventry
Mate,
going to get
it could be hard for Bournemouth.
They're all gonna
It
get
could- mate, it could
smashed.
be really hard for Bournemouth. They've got such a small everything.
Even their
infrastructure.
B street, their B team,
Even their
beats
B
fucking-
stream. No, it's true.
Their B team beats
Buvey,
Burnley.
you are right. Their B stream would even
Their
beat
B
that.
team smashes little Coventry City, by the way. Smashes,
They're-
honestly.
they're-
But all the sides coming up, it's like they don't need to worry about them, do they? Seriously, they don't.
No, but
Burnley.
will it affect
Fuck
their
me.
season?
No. It's got Burnley coming up.
This has been a great calling show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to all the different callers that we had on the show. Remember, if you want to get involved, the Discord is in the description below. Click that link, get stuck in. And thank you once again to Skybet. See you later.